Some might argue that bike design hasn't changed too much in 20, 30 years. Yes, manufacturers have been pushing carbon, high pivots now popping up, but this is kind of all just old tech that's been around before and was not really that revolutionary. This then is the Gamux Sego. Designed and built in Wangen, Switzerland, it's an all-out speed machine, ideal for ploughing down the gnarliest trails and taking on World Cup downhills. No chain, no derailleur. This bike then is a bike of the future and a bike that could possibly revolutionise downhill. Now you might be thinking, hold on Rich, you're talking absolute gobbledygook. You can't race this bike at a World Cup, it's not chain driven. And while you'd be wrong now, Gamux actually worked for 2 years behind the scenes with the UCI to make it legal. In downhill though, I might add. This radical looking bike is centered around a fully CNC'd 7075 aluminium frame, giving Gamux the freedom to run simulations on all components, which they say gives them the highest possible precision and quality available. They then bond the carbon tubes into the top and down tubes, and it gives them the flexibility to be able to adjust things like wall thickness, layup and diameter to adjust and change the stiffness of the frames according to their pro riders' needs. On the current iteration of this bike, they can make a few adjustments as well. They can swap the back end of this bike out to run either a 29 or 27.5 inch rear wheel. They can also adjust the head angle and the reach of this bike plus or minus 10 mil with the massive ZS56 straight through head tube. Gamux do say that if any of their riders have got a special request, they can always make a bike to suit. The reach, 481 mil plus or minus 10 mil with the headset cups. A chainstay of 460. And a wheelbase of 1320. But it's what's at the heart of this bike that makes it stand out, and is that very thing that sets it apart from every other bike on the circuit. It's this, the Pinion Gearbox. The Sego uses a 6-speed Pinion gearbox with smart shift technology, essentially electronic shifting, and it can be configured in 3 different ways. You've got auto, semi-auto and manual as well. Combine that with the Gates belt drive and I reckon you've got one of the quietest bikes out there. Why a gearbox then? The mech has reigned king for years, but that title could be at risk. The gearbox has the potential to be a genuine game changer. No dangly bits to smash off, reduced unsprung weight leading to improved suspension performance, decreased maintenance and increased reliability due to it being a sealed unit. Couple that with electronic shifting derived from Pinion's commuter tech, it gives the rider the ability to tune their shifting preferences from a standard one at a time to multi-shift options to fully automatic, where the box will actually change gear for you depending on your speed. That means you could go from a high-speed section to a low-speed section. It will know this by reading wheel speed using a sensor on the disc and change gear for you to the one it thinks is right. The Gates belt drive that drives the Pinion gearbox on this uses the same technology as belts found in dragsters, so essentially it's super tough and wear resistant, and you know what? It takes away all that faff of lubing as well. The team are running Manitou suspension, so we've got the Dorado upside down carbon fork at the front, paired with a Mara rear shock, and they work really closely with the team there to finely tune and get the exact suspension kinematics that they want for how their bikes ride. And that's no more proof than in the rear shock, where it's got a different air can on it and prototype internals. You could say the Dorado was the OG of upside down forks and has a design that Manitou say gives increased fore and aft stiffness over a conventional fork. The other perk is that being upside down, they reckon because the seals are constantly lubricated, gives a smoother and potentially plusher ride. The Sego I'm riding is a full 29-inch setup, and the guys work really closely with the Reynolds engineers to develop future wheels coming up, and also their own, with things like spoke tension, so they can get a nice compliant yet stiff enough ride to absolutely shred the downhills. What's it like to ride this bike then? Well, initial impressions are that it's quiet, disturbingly quiet. With no bike noises, you start hearing everything else, so the loose ground underneath you or your wheels pinging off the rocks. Couple that with the smooth ride due to the low mass and simple shifting, I found that this is a bike that takes some getting used to over a normal bike due to its ride characteristics. But once you get your head around that, it can really open your eyes as to what the future of the bike industry could hold. Well then, after thoroughly giving this bike the once over, the attention to detail, I got to admit, is really second to none. The Gamux team have obviously left no stone unturned when thinking about this bike, especially when incorporating such modern technologies as a Gates belt drive and a Pinion electronically shifted gearbox. I mean, is this the bike of the future? I genuinely don't think we're far off. This is where things could go. Will we see it in more areas of mountain biking other than just downhill? Will we see it in trail and enduro bikes? Maybe even XC bikes, or is that a step too far? It's an exciting time, and it's one I look forward to seeing come up. Let me know, do you think that belt drives, gearboxes, electronic shifting are the future? To me, I think they could be, but it's been an absolute pleasure, people. From me and Finale, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.